Okay, great. So as you guys can see, this is a ITC Youth Ecopreneur Awards E-Learning Series webinar on how to maximize the value of attending a startup event. This is part of an ongoing series led by ITC, the International Trade Center, to support the young entrepreneurs who applied for our last year's Youth Ecopreneur Awards. Just to give you guys some background, there were more than 600 young entrepreneurs who applied from all over the world, and we're super happy that actually we're going to be taking the 3 winners who come from across the world. They come from Uganda, from India, and from the Dominican Republic to SLUSH, which is an amazing award, and we're really looking forward to having them attend that event coming up in November. And that amazing prize was facilitated through our partnership with Ambitious Africa, who you can see on the screen. I'll introduce them shortly, but they're going to be facilitating this session today as co-organizers and supporters of the SLUSH event. And so they really helped us out throughout the Youth Ecopreneur Awards by supporting us with reviewing the applicants, being part of our technical committees, and of course, supporting with the amazing prize of getting the winners to the SLUSH event. For those of you guys who are not familiar with SLUSH, which I hope you all are at this point, SLUSH is one of the foremost technology and startup events. It's based in Finland and it happens every year in November. This year, I believe it's the 17th and 18th of November, but I'm sure Maya will correct me if I'm wrong. But it's attended by startups, founders, investors from all over the world. And it's an amazing opportunity to network and showcase your event to the world. And that's why we really saw it as a valuable part of the prize offering for the Youth Ecopreneur Awards. And we realized though that many people who go to these type of events, they don't understand how to get the most out of them, how to network, who they should be talking to, how to promote themselves, position themselves, because sometimes these events can be super overwhelming. So that's why we decided to host this session today as a way to give you guys some valuable tips and tricks on what you should do, and specifically leveraging the context of SLUSH. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce our facilitators for today. So first up, we have Maya Luca, who is a Master of Science specialized in industrial engineering and management, and the co-founder of Ambitious Africa, our partners, and one of the organizers of the SLUSH 100 pitching competition. And we also have Ronnie Eriksson, who is a serial entrepreneur and the founder of Norders. Ronnie is 26-year-old and actually from Helsinki, Finland himself. And he's been working with a lot of different startups in the Nordic startup ecosystem his entire life as a founder, investor, ecosystem builder, and catalyst. And he specialized in creating concepts and brands that are built to grow. He also co-founded Ambitious Africa, but also Norders and Hank Adventure Studio. And he's working on creating concepts that are built on well-being, happiness, sisu. I'm excited to know more about that. I don't know what that means, so curious. And has the goal of catalyzing human imagination into reality and leveraging, of course, sustainability. So super excited to have these guys running this event today. There's a lot that we can all learn from them. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And just some housekeeping for today. Please keep your mics on mute. We will be able to take questions at the latter half of the session, but don't wait to post your questions. You can post them throughout the discussion and then we'll come to them at the end. So with that, over to you, Maya.
Cool, thank you from my behalf, and so nice to be here. And as said, I'm Maya, one of the co-founders of Ambitious Africa, and here today with Ronnie. So let me see if my screen works. Okay, let's go through the agenda for today. And before we start, please, let's keep this interactive in a sense that it's not going to be only me and Ronnie talking here and listing facts. That's not the point, but it's also a great opportunity for everybody to ask questions or point out some more ideas or thoughts, whatever you might have. Cool. So the structure is so that first we start by talking about startup events. What are they? SLUSH was already mentioned. And then maybe some key tips for going on and participating on event and really nailing it. And then Ronny is here, and he has vast experience from all kinds of entrepreneurial events and activities. So he will share his experiences and maybe some don'ts and do's. And then at the end, Q&A for discussions and exploring the topic even further. Yeah, that's the plan. And already, if you have some comments regarding the agenda, please shoot in the chat. Okay. A bit more about me and Ronny. Ronny, do you want to go first? I've been talking already enough.
I can go first.
I go. Yeah.
What do you want me to say? No, I'm just kidding.
You want to add something to your introduction?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Also, your intro and also what you are looking forward from this session.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be working so close to all of you, and so awesome that SLUSH and other really cool startup events are coming our way really soon. It was a pretty hefty pandemic with most of these events being away. So I think most of us have been missing in-person events and missing meeting and actually cooperating with each other. So it's a beautiful start. But thank you so much, Claire, for a beautiful introduction. So I'm Ronny Eriksson. I'm an entrepreneur from Helsinki, Finland. Mostly been working in the startup scene, starting companies, joining companies as advisor, learning, mostly learning by doing. So that's one of the mantras that we always were pushing through with Ambitious Africa, that we don't learn to ride a bicycle by reading books about it, but we actually need to ride the bicycle to learn how to operate it. And then that's learning by doing in its easiest form. And today I'm running a portfolio of different startups. One of those is a marketing agency, so focusing a lot on how to actually make brand more visible, how to increase sales with marketing, and how to interact in the marketing and sales intersection. And in addition to that, I'm a huge Nordic region believer. So I've been since Ambitious Africa, I was always the one person who was working on the pan-Nordic connection. So how we're able to connect the Nordic countries with each other, and then from there onward, how to connect the Nordic countries with all the African 54 countries. So it's all about like us coming together and finding different places to work. So today I will be talking then more in detail about the do's and don'ts in different kind of startup events, looking a lot about our experiences, for example, in SLUSH, but also looking a bit on the mindset and like regional differences when you come to the Nordics, when you come to SLUSH, for example. What are the like possibilities when meeting with people there? How open-minded people are, how to talk with them, how to actually reach the right people you want to reach. So looking more into those details. And I'm super excited about today and super fun that I get to do this with you, Maya. So thank you so much. That's me in short. And I'll send my LinkedIn here if you want to connect.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to hear more about you and from the do's and don'ts. And yeah, then me, Maya, so Master of Science in Industrial Engineering and Management. I thought that tech is a very good way to, actually crucial element in building the sustainable future. So that's the reason I ended up studying that. And then during the studies, I became very active in the Finnish entrepreneurial ecosystem, and for example, volunteered SLUSH the 2017 for the first time, and then later on organized a pitching competition for SLUSH, and then also became very active in the university's entrepreneurial ecosystem, or the LUTES it was called, so the community for supporting students to become entrepreneurs. And yeah, for me personally, startup events have been fantastic and very important forum for meeting new people, also getting a bit of inspiration about what's happening in the world at the moment and how ambitious entrepreneurs are really pushing tech, for example, forward and making great breakthroughs globally. Yeah, so that's about it. So now the startup event. What is it? well, I was trying to Google some great definitions for a startup event, but basically is an event for bringing together different stakeholders of a startup ecosystem, be the startups, of course, the companies, entrepreneurs, as well as investors. But then everybody else as well. I mean, governments might be there, bigger corporations looking for startups to collaborate with, or just or seeing what's happening in the industry. SLUSH is organized by university students, actually. So students are there, they might be willing to join a startup as an employee or become a founder later on. So anybody can be there, really, or just like individuals enjoying the fantastic show. And traditionally, startup events have been taking place in one place or space, but especially during the pandemic, the amount of online events increased a lot as well. And it's actually fantastic for them then to build the international or very global community together digitally. So yeah, online, on-site, as well as hybrid events are taking place. And then in addition to very general startup events, there can be events categorized to different teams, let's say. So clean tech, med tech, or like healthcare events, food tech events, all kinds of events, or just for specific areas, let's say for Kenyan startup ecosystem, or you name it. So all kinds of events for also different stakeholders organized by well, governments or companies or university students. Anybody can also organize that. Yeah, maybe there's now some idea. And the picture is from SLUSH. Key figures from SLUSH. So as mentioned, it's the world's leading startup event, by far the best, and also my personal favorite. I'm not biased. And well, every year there are thousands of startups coming to showcase what's up, and maybe look for meeting some new investors, for example. So this year's figures are there on the left-hand side. About 400, 600 startups. Startup founders are joining, as well as operators, almost 3,000 investors, 400 media representatives. So of course, it's interesting for the entire world to see the hottest trends. And yeah, in total, about 12,000 curious minds are coming together. So it's very about bringing together people. Yeah, there are some of my personal pictures from SLUSH. And pitching competition is, for example, very important part of it. Many want to get visibility via the competition, or then just enjoy the show. Investors can see the very best startups on the stage. So as you see, it depends on the goal, that what is the actual value of different activities. Then let's think about a bit more about how to nail it. So now we saw that, okay, there are nice events and SLUSH looks beautiful. It's a bit like rock concert. But what's really there and how to go about it? Ronny will then bring this into more concrete terms or experiences. So when joining an event, first, there are so many events that you cannot be everywhere. Important to choose that, okay, what is the event I actually want to go to? And what do I want from there? So let's go through the preparation of the event, what to do before any event, then at the event. So once you are there, what to do, and then at the end as well. And as we know, event, or now at least you know, that event is only the beginning for something bigger. So it's not the end goal as such, at least for many. Maybe for the organizer, it's the end goal. Any case, for preparation, I was like listing 4 different points. Of course, there's many angles you can take into that. But when joining the event, you want to start by thinking about the goal. Why do you want to go there? Who are you? What do you want? You might take your team to think about it if you have one. But for example, if you're a startup, you may want to have some investments, or you might want to recruit new people. You just want to get some visibility, whatever it might be. Then it's important to really name it. What do you want to do there? If you're an investor, your goals are probably different ones. If you're a student, probably you are not looking for investment at the moment. So it's very important to define, since it's different, like affecting the strategy for going about it. And then the story, so important, especially, well, for companies, but actually for everybody. Given that there are 12,000 people, for example, you need to stand out somehow. There are so many fantastic products, services, people already, that it makes sense to also think about your angle and how to differentiate from there. And be ready to also informal settings. So if pitching all the time, or for example, for investors, there are so many pitches coming all the time that then they might get bored about that. So yeah, be ready with different stories and different messages for different moments. Okay, then there are many people. Who do you want to meet? Who are relevant? Who are not? And for example, in SLUSH, you have a matchmaking platform where you can create your profile and then just request meetings for different with different people. So convenient, so easy to meet the people and then save a lot of time as well. Or then you can go to LinkedIn and stalk people in there, but just make sure that then you have kind of an idea who to meet, and have your goal in mind. And then there's a lot of workshops happening, stage events, a lot of activities in the event. So choose the ones you want to participate and be ready to rock, and not just sit alone in the corner and be on your phone. That's a no-go. At the event, that's the key moment. Be proactive, be present really. And in addition to executing your own agenda, be also open, or it makes sense to also listen to the others and learn from them, and have fun. And then, okay, once being there, you might want to take some pictures as well, so that then you can, okay, have it for them for yourself, but then maybe afterwards share some content and experiences. Follow up. So as I already mentioned, it's not only about the event being there, having fun, even though, yeah, that's good as well. But then what's happening at the afterwards, and how to really harness all the great achievements you got during the event. So for example, contact the people you met at the event, say thank you, organize a follow-up meeting, or then you might want to connect with them in LinkedIn or somewhere else, as well as use the pictures you took. Yeah, so there's some ideas, but maybe the goal is the most important one, and then these 3 time perspectives. So preparation, during, and after. Yeah, long story short. Then Ronni, you wanna continue from here and maybe share some experiences from these different three perspectives, and yeah, just learning from your life.
Yes, thank you so much. So you can just keep that previous slide. I think that's a good one to build around. Thank you, Maya. So first things first. So I've been in a startup world for a long time. I'm also a really curious learner and reader. And I've been trying to figure out what is this secret sauce to actually become successful in entrepreneurship or a successful startup entrepreneur. And after reading tons of books, you wouldn't probably believe it, but the highest correlation to startup success comes through one word or one concept, and that concept is called grit. And now to answer Claire's question, what does SISU mean? SISU is a Finnish word that stands for grit, but it's not only grit, it is so much more. So people in Finland are seen as really sisukas persons or grateful people because we are withstanding a really cold period of time, a really dark period of time. It's a bit like the slush story also, like, why is slush called slush? It's called slush because it's cold, it's dark, and there is slush on the ground. So three different things that makes the event different. It's not like another startup event done in Silicon Valley. It's like not the Silicon something or Valley something. It's a unique experience in many ways. And the SISU is the one thing that's defined a lot of the success here, because when it's cold, when it's dark, you need to really push through to get from one place to another, from building your company, from gritting and getting the funding in to actually like completing that. And that's maybe the first thing that comes to these kind of startup events is how do you actually get most out of those events? It's about being grateful in hunting down the right people, putting the preparation work to play, being really active and really like grateful at the event, at actually finding the people, finding the connections you want to find. And then also continuing that grit by doing a really good follow-up process. So I really love this like three-step pedal model that Maya has put up here, because you get exactly as much out of a startup event as you put in. And most of people, they go to startup events just like thinking that magic will happen just by attending. And that's unfortunately not the truth, because everyone else is also there looking for that same magic to happen by itself. So it's actually about the preparation. So what do you want to get out of it? And even more importantly, why are you attending that event? So when you know the reason why you are going to an event, it might be to go to be inspired. It might be you're going to get funding. It might be creating different kind of connections. So figure that out. Figure out your why. Why are you attending? The reason might be that I just got the chance, and then like okay, but you're going to the event. So why are you going, and what can you get out of it? So that's the key to get started. Then Finland, for example, and SLUSH. And so it's a really interesting market because Finland and the Nordics overall, we're really well known about not having hierarchies. And what that means is that every person is pretty much seen to be on an equal level. So we're not perfect in that. I don't say that we're a perfectly equal place and there is no things like barriers and problems, but there is a high chance that anyone you talk with will actually stop and listen. And this is like an amazing opportunity because me and Maya, for example, we were running with different kind of ambitious Africa things, like taking up the phone and calling the minister or the president or like any high-tier person. There was actually a really high chance that they would answer, and a really high chance that they would actually be interested to listen what we have to say. And then after that, even might be actually interested to contribute in some way. So this is the kind of like essence of it, that when you come here, like keep on talking with people, keep on meeting with people, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity at startup events to get really close to people you might not have known that exist, you might not have reached through email, but when they're there, they're actually there and they want to spend time talking with you, learning about what you're doing, learning about the different things that you're able to provide. And then that might spark something that will happen in the future. That's about the follow-up. So how do you actually follow up those different sparks that have happened? But when two people meet face to face, eye to eye, that connection is a lot stronger than if I give you a call or I send you an email, even though that might be an entry level. But the events actually work as a fueling act to that. So be present and actually actively seek out to meet new people. And even though I know in the startup world, there is a lot of people who consider themselves really introverted, it's the biggest challenge of your life might be to actually go up to a person and start talking. And the other perception many people have also is that if I tell about my idea, someone might steal it. And this in the startup events is kind of like a thing that most of the tech people are in one or another way introverted, but the only way they can develop and take their idea to the next level is about being able to talk about it and share it to other people. And this is why startup events are a tremendously good platform, because everyone is running their own companies, or then they're investing in companies. So no one actually has the time to even think about stealing what you're doing, because they're so in such a hurry to do their own thing. So be really open about sharing what you do. Try to challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone and actually pitching it. And if you even can at the event, evolve your pitch after every time you share it, every time you get the story. So I pitch something now to Claire, and Claire says, oh yeah, that's kind of good, but I don't like that. Then after that, I go pitch the same thing to Maya, and I change something that Claire didn't like. And I see how then Maya reacts. And then Maya, whoa, that's super amazing, but I don't like that. And then I change those two things, and then I go pitch to a third person. And then suddenly like there, it's super interesting. We could book a call right away. So that's a really easy way for you to actually grow and evolve during the event by utilizing learnings of from those people who really understand and know how you're progressing different kind of things. Then when you're at the event, why also it's really important to plan your schedule in advance is that those events are really hectic. There is a lot of things that are super interesting. You will see robots, you will see high tech, you will see, you will be able to experience the coolest food out there. All of these things are super special. They're part of the experience. But if you don't know what you are going to look for, you will just be wandering around the place, just like running around, experiencing different kind of things. And when you come back home, you will realize that, oh, I had a really, really fun time, which is important. I don't say you shouldn't enjoy and you shouldn't have a fun time, but you will come home and you will realize that I had a super fun time, but I actually got nothing out of it. And then you can blame the event that there were so much fun things. You can blame many different things. But in the end, where the problem lied was that you didn't know what you wanted to get. You didn't know what you were out for. And thus you got distracted by all the other fun things and all the like interesting pop-ups that you saw everywhere. So know what you want to get when you're running around at the event. Then most of these events also consist of multiple different side events. So, for example, SLUSH, it's a platform that brings thousands and thousands of people to Helsinki in Finland. But SLUSH is only one of, I would say, hundreds of venues all around here. And what is really important and to realize there is that SLUSH as a really hectic place where there is a lot of people listening to speeches, a lot of like demos being done here and there, might not be the best place to actually stop down and have longer conversations with people. But this is what the SLUSH side events are about. And here we come kind of like to also Maya's point that plan in advance your schedule for the days, because then you're actually able to attend all of these different side events, which might be really focused on the certain industry, certain problem, certain solution that you're looking for. So see, for example, SLUSH or see the startup events as a platform full of different kind of possibilities. And most of those possibilities are focused on something niche. And you need to find those right niches everywhere so that you can focus the right way. And that goes back to the planning and the preparation. And then lastly, it's all about the follow-up. So now you have made the connections. Now you have challenged your comfort level. You have gotten out of your shell and made a lot of connections. A lot of like next steps. When you're still, for example, in the same neighborhood of the startup event, it's really important that you try to schedule as many meetings to be had in person. So maybe you could schedule a lunch for next day. Maybe you could actually decide to go to a side event together the next day. So these are ways that you get into work and into practice as soon as possible and as close to the other people as possible. If it is then so that you will end up in different countries and different kind of worlds, schedule already in advance those follow-up meetings. So you have them in the calendar. So always see that when you get something that you're really inspired about, make a next step, make a decision, for example, booking a meeting in the calendar, for example, deciding to meet somewhere, so that you have those concretely on the table from the start. Then things will start progressing. If you say we'll do something maybe next year, then in all honesty, as probably most of you know, those things won't happen. Or if they happen, they might come then randomly, but there is no structure to it. Then on the other side, on the follow-up side, it's also really important to share the contact details. And this is something Maya was already putting a lot of effort into. But my pro tip here would be that create a visiting card. You might not be sharing out visiting cards that much because like there's such to be a kind of a notion that people don't like the cards anymore. But you could have one card with a QR code, for example. Then you have the phone, you can easily tap on the QR code, and then you get all the contact information right to your phone. That's super simple to do. Maybe we could put something together, Maya and Claire, maybe how to do that. It's super simple to do it, but then you're good to go with one card. And that one card can be shown around and you don't have to say your name. Like Finnish names might be really hard to say for some countries in Africa, and or the other way, some African names can be really hard to say out loud in Finland. So those might be like two differentiations, how to make your communication of your name and contact details as easy as possible. So that's a really good tip how to do it easily. And then when you start to get those contacts, if they don't answer you right away, don't give up. They might be busy and getting hundreds of other contact requests. So be also, again, grateful or sisukas, or have some sisu, and put your time that if they don't answer you today, maybe they'll answer you next week. So try next week again. And then if they don't answer next week, try in a month again. And then if they don't answer, then you probably lost the lead. But don't give up if they don't answer you right away, because people are really busy doing startup events and the days after. So it's probably not your fault that you're not getting an answer. Oof. There was a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, but I think I went through my like toolbox in essence. I saw that there was some comments here, so let me just quickly see if there was some questions. Would be okay. So the first question, I guess, was that what would be your goal when attending a startup event? Is it to learn about specific topics, to meet investors, to share with other entrepreneurs? Feel free to share your thoughts here. Really good question. Maybe I can share my thoughts on this one quickly, and then maybe Maya can add on, and then if anyone else in the chat room wants to say something, please do. But that's a hard question because it really depends. So I would take one step back and kind of like see that what are you trying to achieve right now? Maybe you're trying to get validation that the business idea you're developing is it viable? Maybe you are looking to actually get money to your company, or maybe you're just looking for some co-founders to join your team. So picking one of those gives you pretty much what your agenda in the startup event is. If nothing of that, if you're just attending to attend or to learn or be inspired, I would take as the goal to make 10 new friends, find a couple of interesting things, learn a couple of interesting things you haven't known about before, and enjoy the show. Those three things will take you already a long way. Maya, do you have any thoughts on what would be your goal when attending a startup event?
Well, I think, yeah, you broke it down quite nicely. So why are you joining then the goal? At the moment, I would join SLUSH to meet inspiring people without any like further agenda, I think. But that's already a goal as such. So then I would check out the agenda and see that, okay, what are the best ways to meet the kind of people I want?
Really good.
And then maybe polish my own profile in different forums and have the business card.
That's a really good point from Maya. So if I just build on that a bit, like before going to SLUSH, see that all your like channels are up to date. So that means like the basic business channel, LinkedIn, see that your profile is up to date. There is a picture that actually looks like you. Your basic, like your startup information or company information is actually up to date. That's a really important thing because that's the main channel where people are connecting nowadays. See also that if you have any cards or any other things, you actually have those informations at hand and can be shared. So, and then of course, if you have a company webpage or something like that, see that that's up to date. So those are really, really good tips from Maya as well. Then I saw another comment here that's very important. We tend to be overwhelmed at events and forget of our actual main purpose, getting business. It's a really good point, especially if you're building a business. So it's actually about getting your business to progress onward. So that's all about preparation and putting like a strategy to your work. And then it's actually, then you also are left more with free time in the end. If you know what you're there to do and you have set aside a couple of hours for that, then you can actually enjoy the free time more, and you can actually like let loose and also enjoy the event when you get like the most of the things done. Then I saw another comment about being an introvert person, networking events drain me. And I can assure all of you that, for example, SLUSH and these events, they will drain you. They're tough, but they're just a couple of days. So give it your all, then you get to rest the rest of the year until the next SLUSH or something like that. Let me see if there was something else. No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I do have a question for you, Ronny.
Yes.
So even though you were already covering this, but could you still elaborate on how you are maybe mapping the people you want to meet, and then how do you go about it?
Yeah. So when I was younger, that means like 2 years ago or something like that, SLUSH didn't have actually a platform that was easy to navigate. So most of the people you had to find through different kind of things. Now this year, for example, SLUSH has actually a platform, so we can actually do most of the work in advance. So signing up to that platform, seeing that your information is up to date, allows you to start screening what kind of people are there, what their interests are, what kind of events are they attending. You actually get access to most of the people in advance. Most of the startup events have something similar to that. So these are called like matchmaking platforms where you find the relevant people, you can book meetings with them, you can build it in advance. So I would utilize firstly that. And then the other easy way to actually find about what kind of program people thinks there are is to go to different kind of social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook. Most of the attendees have actually clicked attend there. So it's an easy way to screen who people are interested. Are there some profiles I'm interested to? And LinkedIn, for example, lets you nowadays also filter among the attendees. Where are they from? What industry are they representing? What kind of skill sets do they have, and so on. In addition to this, I would say that also just understanding what your industry and niche and what kind of things you're interested in, going to those events, going to those side events, they will be packed with the people that you're actually looking for. So look to build your program so that it's built of topics that are relevant to what you're interested in, because then you will force yourself in rooms with people that have similar interests and are doing similar things. So with those tips, I think you should be better than good to go and find all the right people you're looking for.
Yeah, makes sense. And I'm also quite systematic in mapping the people and the teams and so on. But I'm also the person saying that, well, telling about, let's say, Ambitious Africa to everybody. So I wouldn't underestimate the ad hoc meetings or the random people you might meet, since at the end of the day, they might be interested in Ambitious Africa, something else I'm working on, or they might know someone else who knows someone. So yeah, that's something to maybe add.
Yeah.
As well.
And maybe one thing to add to that is that also be really cautious about learning to say no, because you will probably meet a lot of people who just want to talk. And it's also good to see that if you need to be still focused on the things that you want to do. So if someone keeps on talking about kite surfing for you for 3 hours and your focus is to build a tech company, maybe you say no to that person, that sorry, I need to go, and just be courageous about it, that you will move on and go talk to the next person, because otherwise you also might get stuck.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, okay to say no. And
yes.
And in general, maybe make sense to continue the 3 hours chat after the event.
Makes sense.
And have a lunch also.
There was one question now. What about virtual networking events? Is it as effective as personal networking events? I think we've tried to it's a good question because we just came out of the pandemic and it's been full of these virtual networking events. They have their pros and cons. The pro is that they're pretty cheap. Anyone in the world could join them. But as you probably have learned and seen throughout the pandemic is that the connection that is built between two people when they meet face to face and eye to eye, as I said before, is a lot stronger. You actually get a feeling what kind of person is it? Are they actually 2 meters long or 160 centimeters long? Like all of these different aspects, you get more depth into the connection. So in virtual networking events, you can reach more people more efficiently. You have more time to do more meetings, but the result and the depth of those meetings is normally a lot more shallow than it is in person. So in person is about actually creating strong links, while virtual events is about creating the starting links you need to create those strong links. So as I would say, there is just a difference of the level of depth that you get out of it right away. But both are really important, both are really effective. It's again in the follow-up where the magic lies.
Yeah, so it depends on the goal.
Yeah.
What you wanna get. No harm done if joining online events.
Exactly. Any other questions? Also, feel free to then reach out to us at any time. We will be available by email or I don't know, do we have some other communication channels, maybe the platform, so we could actually guide you there and answer anything. There is still tons of time before next startup event. So do you find startup events best? So there's another question Claire now put together. So do you find startup events best for finding investment or for building collabs with other companies? I don't think you normally will walk out from a startup event with investment in your hand, but you will walk out with the connections and the meetings that will lead up to that investment. So it's so hectic at SLUSH, so people will not have the time to do their due diligence and all the background information and the checks and all of that, so they could actually write you a check. But you will definitely know if they're interested or not. That validation you will get at startup events. Building collabs again is also it's pretty much the same story, is that you will probably get so far that you can decide that, hey, let's work together, but actually starting to work together and making it a reality is after the event. So it's a perfect place to find the people who are investing and create the interest for that. And then closing that is what will happen in the aftermath of it all. But it's investments, collaborations, and network building. So those are the main things that you get out of startup events, in addition to inspiration, which is be inspired by others, how amazing others also are, and be really happy how amazing others are, because that just shows that if they can do it, you can do it, and then you probably can do it a bit better even if you would like to.
Good answer. If there are people announcing their great investments in a startup event, normally they've been already working on those way beforehand. So it's not just 10 minutes and done. Normally, might be, but normally.
So maybe we can just quickly ask, because I don't see any more questions, but if anyone wants to use the raise their hand feature and ask their question directly, please feel free to go ahead that way as well. Sometimes it's nice to actually hear you guys and your voices and know who's behind the black screen. So yeah, anyone want to ask their question directly, feel free to raise their hand. Okay, we have a quiet audience today. Everything is clear.
It's when you're such a good presenter, so everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, maybe one other question just quickly from my side is on, because obviously the tech world is very different from some other business environments. at SLUSH, at other startup events that you've been to, is it kind of dressed to impress, or is it more casual? Yeah, how should people go in? I mean, maybe it's a superficial question, but like, how should people go in kind of looking and preparing themselves, you know, mentally and physically?
It's a really good question, and something I didn't even think about addressing. But first, I could start with a bit of a story. Well, the story is pretty much that there is something called a startup culture, and that's pretty much how people behave and act and carry themselves within the startup industry. And most of you probably are familiar with the hip hop culture, the rap culture. You know, there is a certain type of way how people communicate, dress themselves. You know, in the hip hop culture, you have certain kind of words, you have certain kind of like baggy clothing, and then you have the certain kind of like superstars or role models you look up to. You come together at certain kind of events and you behave in a certain way at these events. In the startup scene, the tech scene, most of the business scene, it's pretty much the same. So the difference between like the startup scene and then, for example, the business world is that in the startup scene, you don't see that much of suits, for example. People are not dressed like in ties and like really fine suits. Some do that and it's okay. No one will judge you if you do it. But more of that, you'll see people with hoodies, with their logos on the hoodies. You see a lot of caps on people's heads, really loose and comfortable clothing, which comes a lot from that you sit normally, long days behind the computer, probably in a basement or a garage. So it's a lot more fun to actually be comfortable than having like a hard tie on. So in the startup world, dress how you feel the best and try to represent your company and your values through the way you dress. And it's good to make visible, like have a fun cap with the fun logo of your company, maybe have some really strong colors. In Ambitious Africa, we had a bright yellow hoodie, yellow as the sun. And you know, when you walk around with that hoodie and you have the Ambitious Africa logo, everyone is like, well, what is that Ambitious Africa? That's super interesting. They actually come and talk to you. So that's a really good way to kind of like dress that you're a part of the event. And then you're also representing who you are and what you are. So there is no code. If there is a code, the side events might have some dress up codes and all of that. That's written separately. But in most of the cases, just dress as you feel most comfortable and try to represent your company.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel comfortable, feel good, enjoy whatever you're wearing. That's important. And I was once wearing like 12 centimeters high heels. It was a very bad choice. After walking a lot, so sneakers are my go-to nowadays.
Then there was some really practical question here. Okay, first there's two questions. So one is from Edward. So in a situation where you aren't a software developer, but you are in charge of a team of developers, how do you get past the imposter syndrome in a room full of business savvy people and technicians? Probably business savvy people. Imposter. Like, I would say that you're like the you don't need to be a software developer to tell a room full of technicians and savvy people, business savvy people, what your vision and what your goal actually is. You're in charge of making that a reality. Your job is to like you're an imposter in a sense. It's like the startup world is a lot about fake it till you make it. So it's about selling your inspiration. It's about selling your passion, your drive. Why am I the one person that will make this thing a reality? Then you can tell that I have this code of developers. They're specialized in that. I don't understand anything about CSS or C++ or any coding language. I think Python is only a snake. You know, like they don't care if you have the right people who actually can mitigate those issues. So your job is to say, why are you the one person that with help of your team can actually solve that problem? So in a sense, like don't think yourself as an imposter, even though you might be, because you are the one who is solving that problem and you are the one who is putting the effort into that. So that I would say that just trust in yourself and trust that you are making the best out of making that solution happen.
Yeah, exactly. You know your thing, and your skill set is different from the others. So that's complementing them, and you actually have a lot to share with them that they have no idea about. So confidence.
And then there was another question from Aliu. My question is, how do I access my Canva account if I don't
Yeah,
have it?
so Canva is free of charge. You can just log in. But if you want to have the premium one, then you need to add your credit card details.
I think you should be able to do a free trial account, and that or
Yeah,
it's not
but
even a
it's
trial
free
account.
any case.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as long as you're having an email account.
And maybe just quickly, we can shout out because we have two of the Young Ecopreneur Award winners here in the chat, if they're still with us. So we have Lydia Diaz, who is the founder of Plant Powered, and also Vedant Gandhi, who is the founder of Recycle X, both coming from different places in the world and going to attend SLUSH. So I don't know, Lydia, Vedant, if you're able to turn on your camera and unmute yourself, but love to know from you guys what you're looking forward to about SLUSH. What are you going to be trying to get out of it? Maybe if you guys want to just share a few thoughts, that would be great.
Hi everyone. I'm Lydia. I'm from the Dominican Republic. My company is Plant Powered. We manufacture plant-based foods, frozen foods, and inspired in the Latin American gastronomy. And we were the winners of the Ecopreneur Awards, the Youth Ecopreneur Awards on the water category. And we're very excited to be attending SLUSH this year. We're very grateful for the opportunity. And I think every event that I attend that is about getting entrepreneurs together is there's a very magical energy that it's created there. And I've gained a lot of friendships and during the years, long-term friendships, and even just having people that are going through the same thing as you is very valuable. So that's what I'm hoping to get and to give.
Awesome, thanks for that. Vedant, you want to say a couple words?
Hi everyone, I'm good to meet you all. So I was the winner at the waste category, and I'm excited to join for the SLUSH because it will be a huge opportunity for us because we're also planning to enter into European market. So you want to learn about the European culture, how the rules and regulation works for a new startup to enter in a new country. So that will be really helpful, attending SLUSH.
Great, thanks for that. Thanks, guys. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I wanted to shout you guys out for a second. And certainly, I think this is going to be, as Lydia mentioned, a really cool opportunity for building international networks. And as you mentioned, Vedant, a great way to get to know the culture of the economy of the place that you're trying to enter. The European market, super different than other markets. So a great way to connect with your fellow Finnish people here on the chat, as well as others from Germany or Switzerland or wherever, to learn, what it takes to make that bridge into the European market. Awesome, thanks guys. So we have 3 minutes left. Maya, Ronnie, any closing thoughts? Did that spark any last pieces of advice for our audience?
I had thank you slide here. I'm gonna share. Yeah, I think that it's been a very good session and already a lot has been covered. So now it's good to finish here. And whenever there's some questions, comments coming afterwards, then feel free to contact us on LinkedIn, email, Maija@ambitiousafrica.org or Ronni@ambitiousafrica.org. And then LinkedIn is there. Even my phone number is there, so you can give me a call if there's anything. And yeah, wishing you all the best for the upcoming startup events, and definitely encouraging everybody to join. Even though the goal wouldn't be actually clear for you, just go there and explore what's up and take it from there. And everybody, welcome to Helsinki and to SLUSH. We can meet actually there. Ronni.
Yeah. whatever startup events you go to, remember to have fun and remember to also enjoy the evenings, maybe have a beer or two, but don't have too many because there's always 2 days or 3 days of activities, but enjoy the ride. It's super fun.
Well put.
Great closing advice. Can we give a big virtual round of applause for our hosts? Or maybe you can even unmute yourself if you want and give them a real round of applause. But thank you so much to Ronnie and Maya for facilitating this session today. It's always good to actually hear, you know, first person what you guys have done as you've been there. So thank you so much for taking the time to host this session today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.